You have all this stuff in your head that none of us do. The problem is it'd be 159 pages of us up there.
I do think though that the changes to the 2019 law make the like it does not change the demolition problem, but it makes a lot of the stabilization. It's very different.
Yes, yes.
And so. I'm very well for that.
You gotta say who's that to this.
Thanks, everyone. Apologies for the late start. I think everyone here knows about or joined at the end here, but we did a housing plan deep dive, which was a request from some of our newer members, but I think hopeful for everyone. And thank you, Joe, for walking everybody through that. And it sounded like there may be a part two. So
Because we got part of it, yeah.
if folks are still interested in continuing that conversation, you can send us. So now that we're streaming online, good evening and welcome everyone to the October 2025 Executive Committee. My name is Jessica Chait, I'm chair of the board and pleased to call the meeting to order. We didn't have a September exec, so it's been a minute since we've been around the table and obviously to be in this new setting.
Place.
And I want to thank Clinton Housing for having accommodated us in this transition. Yes, I'm probably say a bit more about this in our remarks later, but I want to thank Jesse for really holding down the fort when there's not a fort to hold down. And also to all of the committee chairs who have had to adjust to using the space and being flexible, so thank you. As everyone knows, we continue to adopt a hybrid meeting policy with members of the public and press invited to join remotely. We follow the open meetings law. Full board members are expected to attend in person unless you have a disability or an extraordinary circumstance. And information about this is found on our website. We encourage members of the public to join virtually, and our meeting is streamed live on our YouTube channel, and a transcript being recorded will live on there in perpetuity and be accessible to the public. For tonight's agenda, just to set expectations, we have two items which are going to require a brief presentation on the budget and then a vote, as well as on a letter that transportation Jesse Boone in particular I know has worked on. And then we do have an item of new business which I believe we're going to get to at the end. So just to manage time expectations, there will be one more item there at least. So with that, I'm prepared to turn it over. I want to thank Roberta and the budget task force for all of their work. And I'll turn it to you.
So thank you. So over the past 2 months, the budget task force has met and committees have met to put together both the priorities for different agency budgets as well as the statement of district needs. I think that the best course of action may be to go very quickly over the actual requests. And then to do a very brief, we can take a very brief look at the survey. And we can go from there. Jesse, I don't know if this is helpful. I sent you a email with 3 links such that you can just pop them up if that is.
Okay. Yeah,
For this.
everybody's just gotta look at the emails, so it's just, I mean.
And we can start with the survey.
Anybody else look at Zoom?
I mean, that's.
Keep it clean.
So while Jesse is pulling that up, I did want to just note something exciting. So while we're looking at the survey results, I guess the third link over there. If this year, thanks to our outreach chair who's in the room with us, Kevin Collins, we really increased the survey responses. We got 564
Amazing.
responses.
Amazing. Great job.
Really, really strong. And really like a strong thank you for all of that effort, and something to definitely sort of invest in and expand on in the future. In future budget task forces. The actual results and the raw results here, as well as the tally that we have. One thing that I would recommend to committee chairs would be to take this, and I think you're shared on this. If not, we'll make sure we reshare it and go through some of the raw results and see if there are any items in there that might spark new agenda items. There's a lot.
A little bigger in the viewing part.
It's a little difficult,
Sorry.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, that's.
Okay, so, and if you, I think might want, I realize now that, yeah, move it up so that it's most, we kind of hone in on the graphic. But, not unlike the most recent couple of years, our number one, concern or top issue in the district is crime, public safety, and police community relations. This is followed very closely by affordable housing and land use, which has historically been a number one or a number two. And then we also have quality of life. And following that, you have trash and removal cleanliness, social services, traffic, street conditions. Then you have kind of a drop off from there. So we're really seeing that even as you get more responses, you're really getting relatively similar results that we've gotten in the past. And so the way that this has driven the narrative is
Was
to,
that question, was that always in the same order?
over the past few years, it has typically been that affordable housing was number one. And I think, I believe at some point in the pandemic times, that is when you had that change.
Change.
And so this kind of lives alongside in the narrative with crime, public safety, police community relations, and quality of life, where there has been a noticeable shift, like set of concerns that have come from members of this community who work here, have businesses here, that the physical experience of being on the street here is different. And that it is now a priority that almost surpasses for people who are filling this out, which you would assume people who are involved in the community, for people who are here, have ties to the community, or involved in the community, or filling out this survey, this is where they're landing.
And what is blue versus orange versus gray?
Sure, yeah, 1, 2, and 3, and there's a key below it, and this is also available, yeah. So the blue is first, the orange is second, the gray is third. I did a weighted tally at one point, but you really net out basically the same. So that is not entirely surprising, but sort of feeds into a narrative where we have made a couple of changes to where we've been in the past. Notably, the trends are these concerns over the quality of life here. And this is something that we're tying to concerns over the cumulative impact of more and more projects, because so much of this is related we have a lot of concerns related to like environmental and other social and quality of life impacts that are associated with these projects. And so we want to kind of raise or elevate the status of that ask to study those cumulatively. And the narrative is available for your review. We don't need to go super deep into it unless there are issues you wanted to add or points of concern. I will note a specific ad from Dolores because it, I think, is a little different. Dolores specifically asked us to add some things to the narrative that says, in addition to more resources for NYPD, resources are also needed for the district attorney's office in courts like the Midtown Community Justice Center to provide support for enforcing current laws and offering alternatives to incarceration. And the reason I wanted to bring this up was this was not something we wound up discussing at the task force, but was a recommendation that Flores made based on her sort of role within the precinct council, and based on advice that she had been sort of understanding. She is not present with us as far as I'm aware to make that. So we did add it to the narrative, and but it does not have its own budget request because we did not take it up. But we could change that if the executive committee wanted to make that decision.
Do we have, but we've in the past, we were on record for supporting the Midtown Community Court and when they were underfunded for their.
What don't we do is business, budget ask, I mean, we can decide that, right?
I believe that we, like the exec could add this, especially as Jesse noted, this has previously been,
Yeah, we support the court.
Support.
It was called Midtown Community Court.
Yes.
Recently.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is somewhat downstream of concerns related to, the bail law changes, which we're not getting into in any of this. But that providing more ability to enforce the existing laws will remain valuable. And so we could add that.
What are our current requests for the public safety section?
So we have,
More foot patrol.
yeah, the foot patrols and then we have the traffic enforcement are the
The same.
NYPD. They're basically the same as last year. So we could in theory, I mean, they wouldn't be, I assume they would be a. The court system is the state, so it might actually be a state ask, but we may try and get city funds for it and put it under a mayoral request, but we could certainly add something, and I think it would not actually need to be put in the order of one of the expense requests.
I mean, I don't,
Other that,
I don't think everything in the narrative has to be a request, like the narrative is
Yeah,
the
no,
narrative,
absolutely.
so we don't have to necessarily add a whole new request, I think. Maybe Dolores was just saying, I don't know what she was thinking, but maybe it's just kind of
Yes.
framing, it's more of a framework than right, so we don't.
I mean, I did add it to narrative and I'm definitely
Yeah.
comfortable with that, but I did wanna raise it in case there was a
Yeah.
desire to change and add the request. But,
Sorry,
Paul?
The concept of like public safety and police relations, that's some weird terms. Did anybody go through? Sorry, to see if there was something that you could cull from that to say this is what direction people are thinking as opposed to us making assumptions about what it means to address public safety.
It's a great question. So yes, definitely looked through these. The biggest request was some form of physical presence, so foot patrols, and in the narrative, we sort of try to tease this out, that some of the concern related to public safety is actual crime. And some of it appears to be disordered.
The lack of
About-
police presence.
Yes, exactly. That where people would like to feel safer and would feel safer if there were more eyes on the street. And so that is something that it's a both and that people
Right.
appear to be valuing. Yes.
Yeah. so it turns out Midtown Community Court Attorney is a collaboration of the New York State court system and the city of New York. So there are city funds in it, so I think it's appropriate if we want to add something in.
Do you know which agency? Where do we direct
Or
the
if it's-
agency request?
you can find it out.
Yeah,
We'll find it out later,
Yeah.
you know.
but we
Sure.
could, yeah, we could definitely add that as an expense item, and it may genuinely come from. Like an OMB or city hall,
Yeah, because the city owns the property.
yeah. And so we can definitely add, I will just make the note to add that request. Are there, while we're at the different items in and the narrative, are there any points or questions, concerns?
You want me to just, are we going down to any of them, or do you just? keep going? Do you
I
want me to
think we'll go
display-
for the survey. I'm not the survey, sorry, the list of budget requests
Okay.
now. And so we'll once, now that there's nothing further there, we can take a quick look at the budget requests. We have this is a digital, or a virtual, internet accessible list, so you are welcome to access this yourself as well. And if there are wording changes you'd like to make or cleanup you'd like to do as committee chairs, or if you have committee members who would like to take a look at this, feel free to make those changes. In the meantime, what I am going to do is probably, I think the best thing to do would just be to go through and roll through the number one for each agency, and if there were any conflicts to be resolved.
Just the fault is last thing in court, turns out it's funded 57% by New York City. So whatever we want to do,
Great.
I'm aware of it.
No, that's very helpful,
Yeah.
thank you.
Rebecca, can you just remind me, if you already said this, I apologize, but can you remind folks that we're not. The change that was made this year, that we don't need to, we're only prioritizing within an agency,
Yeah.
not.
I did not, but I think that, we definitely will make note of it. I think what Jessica was just referring to was the format of this year's set of budget requests. I think most of you know this, but for those of you who do not, the format has changed this year, in which the prioritization of our requests are going agency by agency, so that there is no, 1 through 49 as we've had previously. And so,
Competition among.
yes, yes. So very few conflicts to resolve this year.
So no cage match?
I mean, I feel like we need to say that because folks are used to
No,
this
and-
point.
and-
Feel like-
No, in past years. In past years, you're right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Your conflict needs to be resolved within yourself as
Yeah.
co-chairs effectively.
Yes.
yeah, real big year for environments. So to start with our expense, we have, cultural affairs. And there is, just organizational funding here for Department of City Planning. This is the joint request, from committees on, studying the cumulative impacts of blurb since 2021. The, DIFTA, we have the meals for seniors. For homeless services, we have expanding targeted street outreach. For Department of Buildings, we have, funding staff to expedite technology upgrades. We have, for education, funding for pre-K and 3K. For health and mental hygiene, we have, information and services related to STIs, HIV, AIDS, and family planning. For the Department of Transportation, we have, number one, a busway on 34th Street. We have a lot of transportation requests. Yeah. We usually have so few. For parks, we have our number one as the PEP officer uniformed presence within the park. For DSNY, we have adding a gap truck or additional corner basket pickup within the district on certain dates. For youth and community development, we have after school program funding. For the fire department, we have, this is a new request, which is funding for expanding the behavioral health emergency assistance pilot, which for some reason, the text copied over.
That's 911 at the schools. Right?
No,
No? Sorry.
this is where,
It was weird.
the text was off. This is just expanding this
No problem about
DNY pilot, in which you have mental health care workers, emergency workers responding to 911 mental health calls. This exists in other parts of the city and has not been piloted in the district, and this is a request to have that here. The 60 line 60, but Health and Hospitals Corporation, which I think is something we added. There's a desire to make sure that we are funding gender affirming care access, to ensure that organizations that are threatened with federal mandates are, that the gaps that they may have will be filled by
H&H.
H&H basically funding. There is an HRA request. It is effectively extending discharge planning and other elements to help people transition from shelter to permanent housing. There is a LPC request, which is increasing staffing to expedite recommendations for landmark designation and, other case backlog. There is media and entertainment, and this is this, renew and update the study of small independent theaters. We have for NYCHA, elevators, and so this is Fulton LA Chelsea, it's also Harbor View, but it's elevator specific. And then we also have, the, NYCHA DOB FISC compliance, dedicated team. For NYPD, here's where we have our 1 and 2, we have the additional uniformed officers for increased foot patrols. And then you also have a on foot, but traffic enforcement agents. And then finally for OMB, there is a provide earmarked funding for cannabis enforcement to city agencies.
Roberta, for the LPC, St. Benedict the Moor, just put the address is 342 West 53rd.
Then do we add, I thought the clue, I know it wasn't, thought we wanted to update
I don't think we have any specifics, so we can talk about.
Do you wanna change the language here about anything?
Which one, I think we did change that language.
Oh, we did, okay,
That language is updated, but I think there were, may have been other addresses or.
Okay.
Alright.
alright, okay,
On the OPC portion,
yeah,
yeah, because we wanted to add the sites from the Hudson Yards.
That's it, yeah.
We wanted to add the sites.
From the
As far as the Hudson Yards mix that were denied with landmark business because they didn't have the staff to do it. Or I asked them with MSNX. We had MSNX sites.
Oh, and some next sites that are issuing from us in yards too, yeah, we should put those in there, right?
If you-
Put those.
I'm happy to add them. You also have access to this document,
I'll send you the book.
but we can, yeah.
We gotta let, we gotta let.
Control this stuff.
Yeah, really, man.
And we
I
have,
know what you're looking.
we have version control, and version control is very powerful, so if you mess something up, we can always fix it. But so that is our list of expense items. Are there any other points of discussion, concerns, big edits or flags?
So I guess really,
They're the number ones.
if we put the court, something with court in there, just nothing under NYPD except for the one thing, right?
There are the two things under NYPD but we don't know that did you confirm that NYPD is funding the courts?
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize.
But
No, I'm saying responding to public
Yeah,
safety.
or something.
Oh, this is capital, sorry, I'm in capital, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows, yeah,
Sorry, Brian.
that's a research project.
Sorry for everybody online, that was very confusing. I realize that, so,
Um,
do you wanna move?
it seems the mayor's office of criminal justice.
There you go.
This is
Okay,
AI.
So that will be a whole new,
We should,
Let me look in the non-AI section.
Yeah.
There was.
yes, no, I always will check AI, but that seems very plausible that that would be who would be funding
Yeah.
it, so I.
and I removed that agency because we didn't have anything for it,
Okay.
and we can add that back.
That is amazing, because this way we don't have to displace anything.
Nothing, right,
So great, so we will then add to expense, an MOCJ item supporting, the, Midtown community.
alright, we're gonna move into capital.
And if nothing else, we'll move to capital, we'll make those changes with, the addresses and, any additional, if you have small, like, lexical edit changes, happy to take them. Okay, so for capital, number one, we have education. This is funding to support PS 33 during phase one of, the Night Shift Fulton Elliott Chelsea redevelopment. We have many, DOE requests. So we've still have some duplicates, but we'll get rid of those. We have the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. The number one here is funding for Ryan Chelsea Clinton Health Center. These are new requests, but this is an emergency preparedness system, outfitting a mobile unit and dental equipment. We have for the Department of Transportation, the number one is reconstructing 9th Avenue from 51st to 34th Street for the sidewalk widening. For parks, our number one is Dewitt Clinton Park and the reconstruction here. This is something that is partly underway, but there are still many aspects of it that are not yet either funded or complete. Under EDC, we have the.
There it is. There it is.
You know,
And a vote.
My little boat, that little thing.
we have shore power and specifically that this be done without any master plan or delay. And we don't need to get too
Thank you
deep
for
into that now, but if there are more strong words that we should be putting in here, do let us know.
No, don't get me started. Yes.
That's for the letter, okay, so for HPD, we have the capital programs subsidy. And so this is specifically for 560 West 52nd Street, as well as 464 West 25th Street. And then,
Talked about in the prior discussion.
yeah, so
So I have a question on that, is that have they given ever any money or partial money? for
No,
this
what it is
program?
that the affordable housing plan especially, the problem is they're small. And HPA wants to fund large projects.
Ah,
That's the ongoing issue with this.
So no, right? But your answer, your question is whether the project is partially funded or never been funded, like.
Oh, no, put it this way. We have, Clinton Housing has the building. And we are constantly, through income derived from these buildings, putting money into them.
yeah, but I'm asking whether the city.
HPD is,
Right,
HPD is-
HPD.
Well, HPD would say that's its money, because they own it. We lease these buildings.
I don't get it.
Clinton Housing has a net lease on a bunch of city-owned property,
Right,
and we use income from those buildings to move the development ahead.
instead of paying the lease to the.
There was no lease, there are no lease.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
So technically, from a point of view from the city, we're using their funds to move the development ahead. We just need them to do the capital funding, like the soft costs we see.
So here we are, we have a NITRA request. And so the first we have is the completion of interim repairs at Fulton and LHSC. For the New York City Transit Authority, we have the number 7 train extension and
the 41st Street station.
yes, for the
And
number
expand
7
on-
train extension. And that's,
Sorry,
I think that is our final, capital item.
But we
Joe,
have,
you saw the.
well, no, we had
I
something
put
for
the
the mayor's
entrance
office.
there,
Did I miss it? Was it there?
replaced.
Oh,
the
my
entrance.
gosh. Thank you.
It's the first time
Thank
we're.
you. That's transfer, right?
So Leslie, what,
We had, the mayor, it was, I might have missed it as we were scrolling, but the match, the state funding to develop Pier 76, the tow pound, the old tow pound pier. The state, we need 2 people to finance that, 2 entities to finance it. The state had it in their budget. And then the city, we were hoping for money from them and they gave 0.
okay,
And I
And so
think it goes, we were talking, it goes to the mayor's office, I thought.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a political, that's a, I mean, it's not a certain agency that.
Yeah, I know.
Have that, so I would say it's either, I would say
OMB.
either you wanna say the mayor's office, or you can just go OMB,
OMB.
yeah.
okay.
And then, question, Roberta, it's the, Christie, the transit authority did the entries, they pay for them?
Did what? The,
In whose budget were it again?
yeah, I
Is
don't
it the
know,
MT, I'm just trying to figure out, I just think we gotta figure out, Roberta, exactly
right,
which part of the
which
MTA
entity has done the gantry?
entries, and then should we Port Authority owned properties?
Right. So maybe it's not NYCTA, maybe.
Yeah, it could be some, gotta just check.
I mean, this was on last year, wasn't this?
No.
No, it wasn't?
No,
I thought it
Here's a, if I'm recalling correctly, MTA and this sort of corroborates that, but we can double check.
I'm saying what division of the MTA?
What do we-
But they don't really break it down, I mean,
Oh, they
they're
don't.
not gonna ask us.
Yeah.
The budget's not, I mean, we can certainly put it in the language if we wanna put it in language,
Just for clarity's sake.
Yeah. I mean, it's the, it's a Congestion pricing division. I mean,
I got it.
it literally didn't exist.
Right.
You know, it's not like there was any office that managed this until,
It could be Harry,
3 or 4 years ago.
Larry, and Mo.
Right, I mean,
Okay.
So we'll make sure, thank you, Leslie, for calling that out. We need to add back, in that Pier 76 request to the mayor's office, and so we will add that,
but
I'm sending
that's,
you our list just in case, I'm just sending you the language, so.
please.
but that's a new, I mean, that doesn't.
It doesn't
change.
displace
Yeah,
the user,
no,
it's
no.
simply, additive.
Yep.
Are there any questions, concerns on any of the things that you have seen here this evening?
We checked the online folks too.
I just have one thing, Roberta, and I think it's all, it's literally like a few words. on need for sanitation services, and just a few things we're gonna tweak.
That's great.
But we'll
We
talk.
love, I
tweaks.
love when people read what is in the explanation and change the words.
Yeah.
Spoken like a true second vice.
Yeah, right.
In charge of the budget.
I mean, I too will read and change the words, but you are far greater experts on the subject than I, so.
Thank you.
It was the Central Business District Tolling Program. That's a new division of the MTA now.
What?
Holy shit.
Joe was like, was on Google today.
Can we, I would like to make it. I realized I went through an entire budget task force with you and did not bring this up. I would like to
Uh-oh.
add something.
Oh.
So currently, and this can be on the second, this would go, again, this would go under OMB. And so it would under your car. What?
You need your call.
Well, I want an upgrade, so it's not fast enough. No, so currently, for translation services, which this board has recently become having to do quite often, they are expensive. Specifically for if you're doing multiple languages and using the technology and all of that. And so, for reasons beyond me right now at this point, but I have my theories, is that the city will refund community boards if they are for interpreters for sign language. But they will not refund us or fund us for any other interpretation, which I just find baffling, because it is also a city law that city agencies do have to provide interpretation when requested, right? So I would like to put in there, and I have to create the language and send it to you, about saying that this OMB should fund or refund, or however we want to call it, when community boards need to use or have been requested for using interpretation services.
And that
Of
is
any kind.
an OMB specific request.
It's gonna be an OMB specific request, because OMB is the one that actually signs off on the ASL stuff. So I wanted to say it's the same difference. It's using the same program. Like basically you send in your invoices to OMB and they refund you. If I did it with our language translation.
The current program to also
Right.
accommodate.
Expand funding to the current program to
And-
accommodate all languages.
The one thing that I will flag is there is already an OMB item under expense for cannabis enforcement. Would you like to have this as number 2, or would we like?
Oh, it's
to
number
reorder?
2.
Very good. I think Kevin,
Yeah, I would just suggest that when Jesse sent the language, you take a look at, I put in the narrative.
Yeah.
Something very similar to what Jesse sent, suggesting, so maybe just say they.
match up, great flag, thank you.
And a card.
And salaries. Yeah, okay.
Maybe just an office right now, furniture.
No,
I didn't even want an office, I want furniture.
maybe a fort. So.
Yeah, but.
Just a chair and a desk, yes, yeah.
So,
All right.
anything else
Great
on
job.
there?
Excellent job.
I also do have, if you will humor me for like 2 more minutes. I'm trying to put together our wins, so to speak, and the city agency responses are not the most helpful. I did kind of, because all of the ones, for example, for transportation, they had not done anything. So I'm just gonna read out the wins. There are not that many, it shouldn't take too long. The first is on Harborview View, they did say that they added some capital funding for some of the requests, but I am not sure that they actually did. For Brian, Chelsea, Clinton, they did obtain funding for some of their capital requests, and I think they confirmed that. For DeWitt Clinton Park, some aspects of the park were funded, obviously still ongoing. We did get better bins as requested last year, where sanitation gave us some of the newly designed, more wrap proof trash bins. The funding for DOB code enforcement for special districts, they said that they support and can accommodate, but it is not clear that they did that.
Combination success.
That-
That's what I'm saying.
Not
That's what it's like, we're,
Now, our latest
we are not
definition.
denying
Yeah.
it.
Very good. Yeah,
Not a success.
and then. They're also currently working on technology upgrades to for the DOB website, but
No,
they cannot add the
no,
tech
no.
box.
I think the success in that is that they have successfully funded the migration
From
biz
business.
now to DOB. That has finally been done, which I think, I
It's
will
awesome.
say was one of the stumbling blocks.
It's underway.
It's underway, but it's been funded.
Right.
They confirmed that
That's fine.
that last step, which was something that they've been that they would not be able to confirm for many years, has been funded. So I think that is progress. It doesn't get what we want.
The demo restriction checkbox is not. there.
Yeah,
It's not.
but in
And the
terms
fellow
of the
responded back saying, oh, it's there. No, that's a special district checkbox.
the excuse that they can't migrate the two systems is no longer, they can't use that.
And
as an
that new
excuse.
system is not easy.
It's coming from, it's easy to use though.
Huh?
It's easier to use.
What, DOB now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, from the other side.
But the other wing was Hartley House.
Yeah.
Because they definitely said they're fun, we're still struggling how to make it work. Then, but they said they put money.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That is very helpful. We also have, it sounds like we got the RFP for the color school number 4.
No,
Okay,
absolutely.
great. This is.
Good try though.
This is why I wanted to go through this exercise with all of you.
I mean, it's fixing for something, but that's it, right?
Yeah, no, they've got, but they're not, there's no.
I do believe we did actually have funding for Playground Associates from last year, and we'll obviously continue to ask for them.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Hey, Wendy.
Hi. Yeah, so it's great. I'm glad to have somebody else. I'm like, oh wait, is that working?
I do. The problem is we have no idea if we're still transmitting there.
I think we probably are.
Yeah, I'll shut up.
That's, I can send Jesse and they dropped all together. Okay,
Oh, I figured it out. Okay.
there we go.
Hey, there they are.
See you guys.
We lost connection for a moment. Can you guys hear us online now?
Yep, we're
No,
good.
we can't. Yep.
Yeah, and so.
iOS, which might be dropping.
If in the intervening days, you find additional wins, would love to hear them.
You know what though, Christina's right, if you want to,
Yeah,
for your speech. It's
That's a big
it's a
win.
negotiated win,
Yeah.
Right,
for sure, not necessarily a budget.
I think it's a big win.
It's a huge win.
Talk about it.
It's
Sure.
more like
Yeah.
a budget win,
Yes.
it's a district.
Right, it's a
It's a neat,
district,
Yeah.
right,
Right.
that's the way.
yeah,
Yeah.
a
wonderful.
massive win, huge, very huge kind of thing.
Excellent.
$1 million.
Big
tariffs.
Like the carry from the China.
One big beautiful.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
It's a big boat.
Move on, Roberta, quick.
Okay, so I think.
It's more than enough to pay for
Okay.
your car.
I think
Keep
that
control of that.
at this juncture, we have gone through the budget. We have gone through the broad narrative. We can still make small lexical changes, but other than that, I believe we may be ready to vote on this. We did not have quorum at the budget task force, so this will be a vote coming out of exec, but this is relatively the same as what we.
So I would move to adopt in the new format with all the changes we made today and continuing lexical changes. I should say.
All right, there's a second.
Okay, so
Yeah.
all in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Okay.
Great job, Robert.
And thank you,
Yeah.
when the rest of the task force members were.
Just this administrative question for you. I always have to vote president eligible on the CHC items. How do I
Yes.
do that? Like just in Ryan too.
Yeah.
How do we report that? Like in favor, but except for line item, I forget. how to do it.
We just,
You
let's
just
just
do it
have to
for
redo this vote.
Right. Just do non-eligible for the whole thing.
No, so no.
Your two votes.
Yeah, but that's not broken down.
Yeah.
I think I would just like announce it in the past, let's say. in favor of everything except for
I
that.
defer to Jesse, but.
I think it's a lot simpler if you just go with P and E.
You and Maria.
We're not listing the executive vote.
Maria.
I understand, you're not,
No,
you'd like to support us.
I meant the full board. No, not now, full board. No, I've never done P&E for the budget. Anyway, just bring it to your attention.
Okay. But I'm just saying, we just did the similar vote right now, so if you're gonna be P and E, it needed to be P and E.
Okay, that's a strong statement.
Right, I mean, I don't know, man, like, I don't know how to make you, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know how to make that. What? That's what I'm trying to say, right now, we just voted, and you guys voted yes, so if we're saying you're P and E, we need to re-vote and you guys be P and E.
Well, opinion.
Change the vote.
Just
Can you just change the vote?
I mean, I understand what you're
Let
saying.
me make that an idea. I would vote in favor, except for certain budget items on P&E. That's why I think I've done it
We don't do that with
before.
a letter, we don't do that with a broader letter.
No, I think we did it in a
To say
footnote.
someone,
We did it in a
But on
footnote.
another topic, when someone has a
Sure,
commitment,
But what
It
does
doesn't
it
take
take
away-
away? You do this every single year.
It's just like this.
No, but it
Sorry.
doesn't take away anything from your support.
I'm not,
right?
yes, you can make a suggestion.
You could subset the votes, have, take a vote without, Joe's stuff, it passes, take the vote without Maria's stuff, it passes. And then they can just vote,
That's a very good parliamentary thing to figure out. That's great.
Okay.
do you know which items you're,
What, yeah, can you just-
like, is there a way?
I just gotta look for a word that I've never gotten.
I mean,
So-
I don't think, so just for simplicity, like the parliamentary idea is, I think, very well taken. And in other instances in which we are having like contentious votes, I would say
Sure.
we should absolutely separate them out. This is not, like, unless somebody wants to suggest otherwise, I don't think this is contentious. I would just say your P&E on this and then.
It makes it, I would say it just makes it easier, but.
Jesse?
I just don't-
Before we go, I'm sorry, someone has their hand raised in the public.
Yeah, I see that, hold on.
And if anyone feels
Yeah.
like they would like to disagree with me, very open to that, but I think for the purposes here. As simple as possible, I think this is very consensus driven, so. your
She
P&E
wants
has-
she wants to
should be
add something.
fine.
Right, so let's, since we're
Yeah.
taking this
Yeah.
moment,
Yeah.
we're gonna need to re-vote anyway, so.
Yes. Um,
Miriam, can you hear us?
Yeah,
All right. Go ahead. We
can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, I just want to wrap this up because I'm a little confused about where the public can say something. And there was a conversation a while back with me and Jesse Bodine about adding something about a bathroom in the park on 22nd, 21st and 10th Avenue. I couldn't get to see the list that well. My computer went to the computer doctor who erased everything, and some things are back, some aren't. So
Understood,
I'm a little
Mary.
confused.
Can you remind us what the request was?
Bathrooms in
Summer
the
park.
And
park.
summer court. So we had brought this up, Miriam, at one of the committee meetings, and we have a list of bathroom requests. The problem that we have heard about Clement Clark Moore Park is specifically related to the size and that it is not sort of conducive to adding a restroom facility. And so we did not, for that reason, we had not added it to the list, but we have heard this request not only from you, but I believe from others in the community. Leslie and Marty can confirm if I am lying there, but be ready to lie about.
You are not.
I mean, we haven't.
You can't lie about
We haven't
that.
talked about one. We haven't
We-
talked-
There
Um,
was supposed
it
to
came
be, there was supposed to be a small bathroom put in Penn South Playground.
Right, but she's talking about
Yes.
another.
I know she is,
Yeah, we
I
still
know she
have.
is, but the issue was space, and the issue was space at Penn South also.
No, we have Penn South Playground on our. list.
Yes, we have Penn South on the list.
but if we haven't written a letter on this topic, then it would be atypical for us to include it in the budget item. So I think the suggestion would be
For
that this
next year.
needs to go back to WPE for
Oh,
a
dear.
conversation with Miriam about this and for us to understand what the issues are and then be able to submit them.
Uh,
So, Miriam, the request is something noted. We have our chairs for the Parks Committee, and it will be something taken up at the Waterfront Parks and Environment Committee.
Okay, I'm talking
Great,
about a
we can talk
specific
about
park,
bathrooms.
10th Avenue, between
Yes.
22nd, 21st. And I did speak to a lot of parents and to babysitters who said they have to go to the deli and pay for something if they want to take the kids to the park. And of course, a lot of public parks do have bathrooms. And this is the one near me that I go to fairly frequently. And I like to use the bathroom too.
That's very helpful. Thank you, Miriam. And it's definitely a request that we will have our Parks Committee bring up.
Sure.
Back to the vote. I don't think that changes the
No.
issue, and so, I would say that regardless, the budget did pass, and so if we need to go back and amend your votes, we can look into what options are available. If we need to, I would just, I think we should move on, and if we need to come back, we can discuss it and amend it at full board, or, you know, for future. You're okay with that?
Just say it.
You're not.
No, I mean, well, again, it's two people who are openly, as they should be, saying that they're P and E for these two items, that they have
Or I can just say it
that they have a financial conflict to it. I mean, that's, they're not being, it's actual, he's the executive director of the properties we're advocating for. And she works, and Maria works for one of the organizations that we are advocating for funds. So I just don't think it's,
Okay, well,
we've
Maria,
acknowledged it.
Maria has changed her vote to P and E, Joe has not,
It'll
so.
still pass if it's 5 p.m.
Yes, it completely passes.
Fine,
It's
yes.
majority passes.
I just asked for an inquiry and that's all, and I'll change whatever you want.
So can you change it and then we'll do the inquiry and make
Sure.
it at full board, we make sure, I understand. No one wants to get up in front of anybody and say we don't support all this. hard work.
I don't want it to look
Yeah,
bad like.
I understand.
It's your job over there.
Yeah.
This is
Thank you.
not contentious. It's
No.
helpful to just be above board as
That's
much
right.
as possible.
Thanks, Rachel.
Jesse will- I really hate my involvement. Right,
Thank you, Roberta, and to everyone on the task force and who contributed and who prioritized this on your agendas over the last. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move to item number 2. I don't know, Jesse, are you up for introducing this?
Yes, I on the timing is great. As Jessica knows, today is my very first day of speaking after 9 days of absolute misery after getting my tonsils out. But here I am. And as Jessica also asked me, it is very weird. Like my voice has absolutely changed in my.
I was like, you sound different.
Do I sound weird? Okay, so maybe I'm still
Not
adjusting to the new environment in here. So excuse me. Yeah, it's a whole new me. But anyway, the second item on our agenda is a letter to the Amtrak police addressing recent reporting in the city about targeted arrests of LGBT folk in the bathrooms. When I read this article, I was deeply disturbed, if not outraged. Just to mention, it's not in the letter. The letter is measured in tone, but the article quotes this anonymous man, David, who was arrested, saying, he was just using the bathroom and happened to have a LGBT, rainbow, pride wristband on. And then when he got thrown in jail, he's put in a holding cell for 3 hours, and he literally hears one of the arresting officers say, and excuse my language, but I really do want to express just how motivated I was to write this letter. As he gets put into this holding cell, he goes, "Yeah, we got 3 more fag pervs here." This is a letter to Amtrak to how to make them stop these. There seem to be entrapping people are targeting LGBT folk, and to ask them to review that conduct. And I'm hoping that we can pass here at the exec and pass it full board. I will just say the draft of the letter that's on the Dropbox, line 30, I think it's a slightly old version, or there was an edit that never made it in. So line 31 is not supposed to be there and it gets incorporated elsewhere. So it's not exactly as written, but I just want to call that out.
And I'll just add that CB5 also wrote a similar letter,
And
others share
just
similar concern.
Just for my own clarity, Jesse, the targeting was strictly LGBT. There wasn't any other targeting of people in that bathroom.
No, it's the men's bathroom. They're targeting.
Immigrants or black.
Well, no, it did lead to
skin.
it did lead to immigration consequences for at least one of the arrestees. That's correct. I don't know if they were targeted for being an immigrant, but it has consequences beyond just an arrest in 3 hours sitting in a holding cell.
And there weren't any targets of people with darker skin than ours, or
The reporting doesn't talk about that. No, it just talks about these like 30 or so arrests, 30 plus arrests of gay men.
Jesse, I read the letter and I wanted to maybe add a sentence about. These cases used to go on in the past and they've been tried through courts and rejected. And so I want to maybe insert a sentence, and I can write it up for you. That the courts have rejected this practice over decades. And we should reinforce that it's whether I can use the word unconstitutional or not, but I want to find the right word for that.
Sure, no, I'd be happy to add a legal component to this. Of course.
This has been tested and thrown out. This should not have gone.
Entrapment has been ruled time and time again correct as a not necessarily exactly, it's not necessarily unconstitutional. But
you accept a friendly sentence on that, I'll send that to you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, any more?
I move the question.
Great.
I'll second that motion.
No, thank you, Paul. All in favor? Great, any opposed?
I was gonna do that joke.
I've been arrested in that bathroom.
Okay, just quickly for the chair report, we started with, I just wanna again thank everyone and Joe in particular for carving out time on the housing plan. I think that's really important and great that we're taking time to do a deeper dive. It actually is in a way connected with some of the board engagement working group, like MO, let's say, of hearing from people, like what more do they want out of board and how can we deepen their engagement and service. And so want to continue to be able to do that where we receive feedback and make opportunities available. And two, connected to that, you'll see in the Dropbox, we have a new toolkit that the board engagement working group created. It's good, it's quite extensive, it covers many of the things that folks, not just for this board, but for any board across the city might be interested in knowing as they become more engaged in board service. And so that is in the Dropbox, the board engagement work. We wanted this group to have a chance to reflect on it and for you all to put your feedback, and particularly from the sense of as committee chairs or as leadership, like, where are the gaps that you see when new members join, and how do we make sure that as much as we can top down, that's being addressed. Obviously, a lot is done through experience and through one-on-one conversations, which are other things we're trying to tackle. But the toolkit, I think, is a helpful document or mechanism to begin doing that. So you'll have it in the Dropbox, and we're asking that you provide feedback, ideally over the next 2 weeks. Rachel and Rodney will join us at the next exec, and it was deemed prudent that we vote on it. But we'd like to vote on a document that has as much feedback already as possible when we do so. So if you can be sure to take a look at that, they've been very receptive to additional feedback. Maria, do you want to say anything about the code drive? Speaking of engagement
yes. And just that phase was about just feeling some frustration. The code drive is, say that again?
Like, let us help you.
Jesse's helping me. The code drive is Saturday, November 8th, starting at 10 a.m. And until 4. I think it's the first 2 or 3 hours people can drop off gently used or new codes. And then we distribute from that time until 4. Short and sweet, and it's always enjoyable. And I'm going to be sending out an email to MCB4. Well, I'll send it to Jesse. Jesse, you'll send it out to everyone. I'll do that this week. And yeah, great.
And you'll see much more. We were waiting to get the flyer out more just because we usually have sponsorships on it. And so I think
we've had some, not everyone we'd like to respond yet. So
yeah. But you'll see the flyer out, and you'll see it in the kiosks and stuff like that. So I think this beginning of this week.
Great. And just tying the two together, I think they're some of the feedback, the board engagement working group got was that people love things like the code drive and want to be helpful, not just day of, but if they can be helpful in advance or reaching out to folks, so if it'd be helpful to think about how to support that.
Yeah, who can you get to pressure some organizations?
Do you remind the date? Again?
Saturday, November 8th. I wonder if Wendy can pressure anybody.
We can talk now, like, we wanna send an email to folks and say if we know people who would wanna
Right.
support it, like, how do we do that? So it's not
Yes.
all on the shoulders, either shoulders.
Yeah.
Okay, I also wanted to mention, we held, 10 days ago, a meeting of NYCHA stakeholders, something that shouldn't come as a major surprise, because it's something we've talked about a lot in terms of how do we find ways to really engage, on the most pressing issues related to the project. Following the fact that our board approved a letter where we really outlined what we wanted to see, we felt that we had at least the framework with which to bring stakeholders together, which included elected officials and tenant representatives, as well as Hudson Guild, PS 33, and legal aid rep. I really viewed this as like a preliminary meeting, our initial meeting. We didn't know, frankly, who would even show up, to be totally blunt.
So we got.
If people would even show up, people who said they weren't coming, chose to come, which was, I think, really a testament. You know, when we talk a lot about, I hear sometimes like, the board doesn't quite have the power it used to, or, you know, our electeds don't listen to us, or don't, you know, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. The fact that representatives of all of the relevant invitees showed up, I think was a reminder that we do hold, you know, authority and power. And it was, really the purpose of the meeting is to go through the letter and find areas where there was truly shared alignment among all of the stakeholders. Obviously, our board is aligned and now we want to see all of these things happen, but that doesn't necessarily represent everyone who is deemed a stakeholder. And so we are hoping that the meeting went well and there was interest in continuing to use that framework. So we are looking to set up additional meeting structure to support that. And we'll hope to build on that success, while recognizing that, as I'm sure many of you know, many things continue to evolve and happen. Like the project's not on pause just because we're talking about these things. And so we're trying to work as quickly as possible, but also in somewhat of a parallel process that may find itself less parallel and more perpendicular to the activities that are going on.
Or it's actually in warp speed, which is a problem.
Yes. I know there have been a number of conversations about the Manhattan Boost Terminal, so I just wanted to, I know we talked in advance, but Leslie, if there's anything you want, we alluded to it a bit ago, but between you and Christine, if you want to give any updates. Just because there have been so many conversations. I know I couldn't attend last week's.
Sure.
meeting.
Yeah, it's, I mean, so, I mean, Christine, you wanted to put this on the agenda for, you just wanna.
Well, I wanted to share where we are and what's happening next, right?
Right, so, right now, EDC, everyone, I think by now is aware that there's a master plan going on. As far as a total renovation of the Manhattan cruise ship terminal. We are the infancy stages of planning, so there are some plans and some sketches but nothing set definite. Right now, I think the EDC is in the mode where their initial plans include moving the piers out further into the Hudson River. And that is going into the federal waterways. And so they will need what is called a WRDA exemption. Which means that the WRDA is the federal waterways and the navigable channels there. And that is purely act of US Congress for real. It's usually you know, not Republican or Democrat. It's
And there's so much consensus there, so.
yeah, so they are trying to get all the stakeholders to the table, whether that's environmental, whether that's recreational users, the tugboat industry, Army Corps of Engineers, Coast Guard, to, I guess, hear their concerns, hear what their suggestions are to do this. Now, this WRDA if it goes through or not goes through, and maybe I'm getting a little bit too into the weeds right now. But this happens every 2 years in Congress. So that's why EDC is kind of trying to push the envelope a little bit and trying to get all these stakeholders at the table and get some sort of either consensus or approval from these stakeholders to then move it on to the next step.
How far out?
About 600 feet. It's considerable, it's considerable, but, you know, I,
Into the navigable waterway.
Yes,
correct, well, not 600 feet in total, not all of that.
Oh, I just meant 600 feet
More.
additional.
Additional what it is now,
600 feet beyond where the piers are today.
correct.
Beyond where the piers are is the federal waterway. The
yeah,
edge of
well,
the pier is where the waterway begins.
I don't think, well,
Yeah,
And 600 feet would be moving into.
yeah, it's big.
yeah,
that's 3/4 of a block, of a Manhattan block.
right, so the reason why they're doing this is so they can house the bigger ships. Yeah, that they want, and also a lot of it has to do with our asks. We want public park space, we want the onboarding and offboarding off the West Side Highway, we wanna create some sort of transportation. Pickup drop-off section, they have in their rough sketches that this area will now house a mini substation for shore power. So there's a lot going on here. How this is going to be accomplished, we don't know yet. Like I said, if they get this water exemption, it's at the very beginning stages. Then they can sketch and they know kind of the square footage they're working with. Right now, they don't know the square footage. So I think that's where we are now. And I think the reason why it kind of dovetails into transportation was because a great part of it is the onboarding and offboarding of passengers as far as pickup drop-off areas. But
They're
nothing,
extending the curtain from on land to the beginning of the piers. So it's going out at the end and it's moving further offshore. They're creating a
Well,
new
they're
platform is what they're talking about.
yeah, they don't know how they're gonna do it, but
They
yes.
do not.
This just
So-
sounds like
So-
Westway,
So, yeah, well, that's what people said. So,
honestly. Like,
so I asked for a special, presentation of the transportation stuff, so to understand the detail of what they are proposing. And, it's so early in the process. If you think about the Port Authority process, we would have to have another 5 or 6 or 7 meetings to iron out all the problems which are still in their presentation. So we are very far away from saying, okay, they are doing good. We don't know. And the question is whether we should support the word now and, trust the future, and or say no. And then, they have 2 years to do all the details like the Port Authority did. And they consult with us, and at the end, we can tell them whether we support it or not. So where I am right now, and we didn't talk yet, but I don't feel comfortable that we should be signing off at this stage because
Well, we're gonna.
I'm just saying from a transportation standpoint.
Well,
That's-
EDC asked us if we would have this at our last board meeting, this month. And we heard them and then we said we weren't ready to do a letter because our letter would be definitely hinged upon all these stakeholders and what they're saying. So we are collecting letters from and comments from not only the environmental groups, but from the small stakeholders, and I say small, meaning like manpower kayakers, to the big ones like the tugboats that use the word. They all have interesting points of view. I attended a meeting at EDC last week with many of the stakeholders and just really to listen and see. Some people really like it, like tugboats say it would actually help them. There are certain things that there are pros and cons, but I don't think we are prepared to write a letter for or against it until we have all the stakeholder feedback, and that's what we're in the process of doing.
And just a
And the
reminder,
transportation side of it.
just a reminder, they did a number of sessions where they've tried to get community feedback, which is one part of this process, and have been trying to. Meetings didn't just happen overnight,
No,
like there
but
has
this
been a
extension
process.
thing is brand new.
It is a new part of, because, right, they were collecting feedback to then be able to make recommendations of what they wanna do. But what I wanted to say on the other side is that, and I wasn't able to attend the meeting in person, I don't know if the electeds were all present, but, I mean, we've heard from Jerry Nadler's office, a lot of skepticism about moving this forward on the proposed timeline. So not about moving it forward, but at least initially in the proposed timeline, so.
I think there's an array of opinions from electeds.
But because
we have to
Congress, like, I just,
Right.
I'm mentioning him specifically because.
Right, he's the main player.
Can I just say that this just sounds like so wildly needlessly complex. Added, an additive complex layer with so many things that can go wrong from stakeholders, and people could say yes and change their minds. I mean, I actually dealt with Westway, and trust me. Wow, you know.
Well, we wanted to give an update today, it's not on our agenda for
There's a lot
this
of
evening,
elements.
and I think as we continue to get more information, and certainly as it needs to be noticed on meetings, folks should show up to those. And,
So what's the timeline?
there's-
The timeline is next month?
So they're gathering all the feedback from these stakeholders that use the Hudson. In various ways, and they want to get something, I believe, to the congressman. It doesn't have to, I think it could be any congressman on the transportation. In Congress, but they wanna get something submitted before the end of the year. Because this is, I think the deadline is next year, but there are certain steps they have to hit before that, and then it's gonna be 2 years from there.
So we should ask them to go to your committee and our committee separately. So that we have, an opinion, because I was the only one
Yeah.
to look at that small meeting. And this is very complicated, I mean, this is like creating an airport.
So just to be clear, the WORDA thing has really, it has to do, from what the EDC has explained, they wanna know what is the square footage they're working with. Right? If WORDA doesn't go through, then they're gonna redesign something totally different, if they do a redesign at all, I have no idea what's in their head. But if the WORDA does go through, then it's allowed us to redesign, but the redesign itself. Will go through the regular environmental reviews, the community board review, everything that we are very familiar with, the WORDA thing is just an added. Unique element in this particular case. So I think that's where listen, I think they're working very fast, and it's unfortunate for them that they were behind the 8 ball on this and they didn't,
And there was a new administration.
And the degree to which it is tied to shore power, which is something we've been so focused on, to have it be now linked to that, I think.
Linked to a much more
Is
complex
very
structure.
unfortunate.
Right.
And is there a way to ask them, I'm just brainstorming to make our approval subject to them installing shore power before the massive.
I mean, I think this is a good way to negotiate a lot of things, but you and I talked about this. I mean, for instance, what was surprising to me in their initial talks of a plan is just talks, I shouldn't say approved, the talks of creating an overpass, I guess, or a pedestrian cyclist bridge, which we asked for from DeWitt Clinton over the West Side Highway, which, I mean, that's a big thing. So the reason why I mention it is because there's a lot of things that I think we can discuss about our wants that maybe can be, I don't want to say solidified, but that we can really, our time to discuss that would be sooner rather than.
This sounds like classic EDC overreach.
Right.
That's what it strikes me, and when they do that, they create like. Wrong bullshit. And that's the problem, it's these big things, and they never get into it.
I mean, the implication is that they raise everything, right, and then we build everything.
Yeah.
The worst part of it for me is what you said, that they are using all this planning, designing as a way of delaying the shore power
Yeah, I
connection.
think we need to So we
I don't
need to
think
sit
that's-
down.
I don't
I think it
they're
is more
doing that.
complicated than that,
Delay it.
but.
Yeah, I think it's
but-
very, I also think, I don't wanna get into it right now, because I don't know the details. There's also, there's a public-private partnership in financing that has to.
No,
that
what a shock.
deals with this.
Of course.
Roberta,
Okay.
Roberta, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, we
Because
think,
this
we
is-
don't know, I mean, it has to be, we don't know any numbers or breakdowns, but yes.
So like one element that was just very open when EDC made the presentation was what actual public approvals they would need to seek in order to move forward with this process. And they were not clear like as to the public approvals they would want to see. So we don't really have a way to know what, if there is a community board role like in this process. I mean, the presumption, of course, is always like the community will be consulted, but if there's no community board approval or community board leverage, I think that becomes difficult to go out on a limb.
Correct, and I think the only,
change.
well, that's what Christine and I were talking about offline about that, about, what would our role be now? That we can have that impact, but there is also the EIS.
Yes.
The EIS will be there,
Yes.
for sure.
Which we have a role in commenting on, but, and obviously there is a private right of action. If someone wishes to, say that, EDC was not actually, completing its obligations, but the community board,
Right.
it doesn't really matter what we say.
Well,
I mean, it matters, but like,
It matters
There's not
politically,
a-
it matters politically.
Right, but there's not a forum.
But the fact that they're asking for early support says that there's a lot of other torture steps here. And is that, Roberta, you may know this, the end of the pier is the city's ownership, so how do they get to own more, extend it? Yeah, I've never seen this before,
Yeah.
like the city,
well, I think they're doing the same thing up north. I think there's like,
I think
94.
like, no, way up, like 100, and what was it they were saying?
Oh, they
It's
did say
similar.
that, on 100.
Yeah, so they're doing similar, I think.
78 or something.
Yeah.
you say
Okay, thank you.
really complex.
Very, very complex.
With that, I'm gonna pass it to you for district office. Oh, again, I wanna just acknowledge this being tougher, not having office space, very difficult. Changing the way we work and how we do things, so appreciate everyone being flexible and.
Lev is sending an email.
What?
Lev is sending out the emails.
Playing chess.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so first off, I just want to say a huge thank you to Clinton Housing and in particular, a number of staff members, Dilcia, Jacob here, who's the managing superintendent, I believe, Lorraine, who is the overseer of the whole, more of the property in general. They've been fantastic. Dilcia and for Clinton Housing has been instrumental in this, making all of this work. And so it's a huge thank you to them particularly. And then I want to say, I just want to say again, kudos and thank yous to Kevin, who, you do things so many years, you do them and you have a certain routine and you kind of expect what you're gonna get. And then, it's always really nice and refreshing to have someone come in and to say, I'll take that off your hands and have a great response. And so the results of the survey are truly due to his efforts and his work and getting it out there. And now you're stuck with it for the rest of your time here. That's how it works.
You can delegate.
You can then delegate it to someone else
Or many
and be much quicker than I did. It took me 10 years or however long years of the survey. So, but it really was an amazing response and it's a fantastic thing. So, anyway, in your Dropbox, you will have your full board agenda for next week. And you will have your committee schedule as we know it for the month of November. Please take a look at both documents. Tell us if we're missing something, if we don't have something right. Please take a look at other committees for next month, so you're aware of what they're doing and there's no surprises. And if you think there needs to be some collaboration and cross committee work, you let us know. the only change for November is BLP, which is meeting on the 18th. It's not its normal day because that's the day, a holiday, and the day office is closed and the city is not working. And everything else is, it's Veterans Day on the 11th, so, that's why, that's when they normally meet. That's the only change for November. I don't believe there's any changes for December. We have our full board schedule for 2026 set, so that will be up very shortly. One thing I will just mention to you, it's, March. April full board does not work because of a holiday, so I'm doing the same thing that we just did. And moving it the day before to a Tuesday, so it's like March 31st or something like that. I will get that out to you guys, some more detail, but just have it in your head there. I think that is it, unless you guys have any questions for me. I do want to say, I've been corresponding, we do want to clarify the vote on the statement of district need, just because there was a change, and we want to be able to make sure that we're doing this correctly. Technically, if two members can make a change in their vote, as long as it's during the same meeting. And the announcement for the vote has not happened, so I'm going to make the announcement now. Because I realize I don't think I've ever made the announcement. So the motion passed. Everyone voting in the affirmative except for Joe and Maria, who are both PNE. So I hope that meets Robert's rules of order. And that's all I have to say.
About the office. Any update?
So the
Yeah.
I don't know, we're gonna talk about it. I feel like Maria from co-track. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting weekly updates. There's a weekly meeting I have. Yeah, I mean, construction wise, I think we're on schedule to be in January, which I'm very happy about. There's a couple other factors we are having to deal with. The joke about furniture is not a joke, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah.
No furniture?
Yes, furniture, just not when is a question. And so, well, yeah, I mean, there's solves to that, obviously. I'm just very frustrated in that, like, you know, talking about this for.
Just FYI, Clinton hasn't got a donation of office furniture that we are giving away.
Okay.
And.
Well, again,
I'm saying no, as a temporary.
No, I hear you. I appreciate it. That I kind of threw a bit of a hissy fit last meeting, and so we'll see if there's any better response this meeting. But so yeah, we're on our way. I mean, you know, it's I really wish we would have been there already. But I do think this is actually it was very nostalgic coming back to the space. We're used to a lot of meetings for the folks that have been around for a while. We used to have a lot of meetings here, and so it's a great space, and it's a great feel, and you know, so I'm very happy that we find something that that works. So yeah, so that's it. I mean, things are moving along. You know, I'm happy to. I would have if you like, I can definitely come. Which would be November. I can put together some slides and show you guys when it's starting. Yeah.
The past cards for the previous office are now junk.
Yes.
That building is junk.
Yeah, it's not gonna get to anywhere.
The furniture you had in that office, what happened to it? Like the big tables we had for.
That's gone.
That's gone.
That's gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
They wouldn't fit.
No, that furniture wouldn't fit.
Right.
And so we're getting all new furniture, so. You know, we got that officially destroyed, basically. A destroy order for that, and so we did move a lot of the stuff into storage, so a lot of stuff in that furniture. Just because there's no point.
It's too big.
But it just we're getting like entirely stuff that's fitted out specifically for each little space, so it just we're getting new chairs. New conference room table, you know, everything, so. Well.
Sorry that I asked.
No, I mean, listen, I want to be able to, you know, I feel like I'll be more positive as we get closer. That's what I want.
And we'll have a housewarming party, right?
Yes. Yeah, just don't get too crazy, all right? We just got this stuff. I don't need.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, throwing graffiti on the walls.
Alright, we do have one new item for business, so, thank you, Jesse. Sorry, Paul.
Before we go,
Yeah.
can we get an update on the elections nominating committee and what the process is for the elections for officers?
Sure,
I can do that.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, nominating committee met, you know, it's online if you wanna watch, they, as the bylaws allow. You know, they give the nominating committee a choice to provide a slate of, with names for each position for one or more. Of each of the candidates for a position, so my understanding is that they decided to, that they had met with everybody and they felt, everybody that they interviewed. Would perform, fine in that position, and so they, all of the folks were gonna be added to the slate.
And
So we'll have, sorry, so there will be, multiple people, running for first vice chair and second vice chair. And so come December, when we actually have the election, that's typically when, in the past, when we've had people, you know, the candidates get up and present themselves. Yes, December, so November will be the report from the nominating committee, just explaining what they did, the slate, and that's what it'll be. And the other option, and the other, not option, but the other component of that is that it does allow for nominations from the floor. If someone.
In November.
In November, yeah, no, but yeah, only in November,
Yeah, not.
not in December.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so now to our new business item on item Christine alternatives, and just a reminder to just tell a little bit about our position on this previously, or what we've done.
Yes, so, idling and clean air, you know that we have been very, very intense on those subjects during all the Port Authority, et cetera, et cetera. And so we have had, there is a law on the books which says that how much 3 minutes maximum, and then 1 minute when it's close to a school. And there is, the citizen can report, and when they report, they can collect money, fines, collect a portion of the fines. We have had multiple letters in the past, and I can't find them, but we'll find them, at least 2 letters where we recommended that the fines be increased. And so generally, we've been really very much in favor of the program, and making sure.
Sorry, I mean, sorry, and I'll just to throw in, Christine, also, you know, every time we have an applicant for a bus stop,
Right.
you know, we make sure that, and we often include in our letters that they will abide by the idling law, and be responsible operators that way. Sorry, go ahead.
Very good point. So, what came up is that in that process, people can request exemptions. And in the past, the DEP has done some exemption based on electrifying not the buses, but the trucks or the vehicles, et cetera. And so they have said, you know, don't pay the fine and you don't have to follow the fine, but you have to become electrified within 1 year or 2.
Oh, that's the remedy, yeah.
That's what they were trying to move on rather than collecting the fine. So this company, Academy Express, and I'm sure you know it, Joe, because you are always parked in front of your
Yes, they are.
office. They ask for an exemption. And they are giving a justification which is not appropriate. And one of the largest concentration of Academy buses we have, and idling violation, is on West 30th Street, right behind the fashion industry. Fashion Institute of Technology. And, you know, if you look at the map, this is like everything is red. And so the idling takes place directly below the windows of 1,200 students, which is not great. So Academy is saying that they cannot do anything because, you know, every technique they decline and say, we can't do it. But just last week or 2 weeks ago, there is another company which has made a settlement with the Attorney General in in Washington DC. And they have agreed to use what is called a turn off, which is after 3 minutes, your engine turned off. And yeah, you can turn it back on, but you know, it's kind of generally when they turn off, they keep it turned off. So this is a pretty good technology. So those buses have accumulated 1,400 violations
Come on.
and $566,000 in fines.
Well, how much?
$566,000.
And what's the normal fine?
I mean,
No, I mean, like the normal fine for a violation.
Per
I
violation.
think maybe it's 200 or something. Right, it's crazy. So they are, you know, the other thing you should know is that they have been lobbying the Adams administration heavily. And we believe that the Adams administration is pushing DEP to give the exemption. This is the same company that has been doing New Jersey Transit. So they have buses that do New Jersey Transit routes, and they were under contract. And, you know, when they had something which would make more money, they would take the buses and send them to do another run, leaving the commuters on the road. And they have been fined $20 million by New Jersey Transit. $20.5 million by New Jersey Transit. They had to borrow money, and I'm sure that, you know, paying the $500,000 is a big deal. But this is not a great operator, what I want to say. It's, you know, leaving people on the side of the road is pretty incredible. So the thing we are very concerned about is that if there is, this exemption is given, all the other bus company will go through and will say, we
And
don't
the
want to do
enforcement
it.
won't be there.
Right, and then trucks company would do same thing. So essentially, this has the potential to absolutely destroy the law as we know it today. And so we want to testify Wednesday and say that what I just told you when it's in the letter.
Where's the testimony company?
It's a DEP, they have links if you want it, and there is a, you know, you can send a
Like an
letter.
administrative proceeding or something?
Yeah, this is what they have. They have somebody listening to people, you have 5 minutes to speak, and that's it.
Will the transportation committee be doing a letter subsequent to this? And you're just looking for us to make a motion to have you speak?
No, I think that would be the letter, and we bring it to the full board to ratify, right?
So you'll write the letter from exec on what you just said.
Right,
And then we'll, because we're approving the letters,
Right.
you can then testify on Wednesday.
yeah.
I make the motion that we approve the letter as Christine just described.
Second.
All in favor?
And it is in the Dropbox if you did want to
Yes,
read
it
it.
is in the draw.
Any opposed?
Yeah.
It's.
Any meeting?
No.
No TV on line 32.
Because the bus parks. in
Only
front.
line 32, only line.
The line-
There's already.
Yes,
Yes.
When you going?
Literally today.
Late this afternoon.
Yeah, that's why it's new business, like, yeah.
Oh.
I didn't see.
Hey.
I'm
Wait,
Yeah.
You learned from Trevor Stucci or something?
Right, with that, I'm gonna ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
This was a little marathon, but not that bad, right?
Are you?
Not that bad, but this thing puts off so much.
I know, I was like, that's why we jumped offline, the hotspot shut down, because it was so hot.
It's hot.
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah.
Oh, because the heat
They
is.
switched over the,
Yeah, it's switched over.
Yeah. it's a big month for switching over.
It's complaining.
Yeah, it was full of some kids and put against the wall, if you wanna help.
Turning off.
I'm sure people, I know.
But the control right over there.
That's what this stack. We are getting them.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe the construction